Have you found life a little bit unfair recently or in the past? Well, today I want to talk about this and how to deal with it to move forward. And as always, if you stay until the end, I have a final bonus point that you want to stick around for then as well. Now, I'm not going to say I'm an angel and I've never complained before because I certainly have and a lot, right? Right. It's kind of as a kid, it was like, weren't I living in the village next door, which was like, I don't know, a 10, 15 minute drive, that all my friends are in. And it's like, I would be like, I want more money, blah, 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 as I got older and all these kind of things, right? So I definitely complained, like even as an adult, even the last 2 years, I'm going to catch myself complaining and then snap myself out of it very, very quickly, right? So I'm not someone who hasn't complained, but one thing I've learned is how you think about the world, how you move about the world, really following my last episode, really attracts more of what's going to show up. And I'm going to go through different levels, right? Because when we get caught in the whole, oh, life happens against me, more things are going to show up that life is against you, right? Now, you could even be feeling good and then something challenging comes up. Now, what that is, if you're on a really good frequency, you're going to be able to handle it a lot more if you've really done the work on yourself. But it doesn't help. I've learned to just say life is unfair. And yet, like, there's areas of my life I'm just like, oh, it's a little bit unfair. Like for me, I'll be totally honest. Like I see some people have fallen like madly in love. Like not everyone I know, but like a couple fallen madly in love and together for many, many years. Right? That's beautiful, amazing. Like I'm happy for people who've done that right now. The old me would have been like a bit like, oh, why do people find it so easy? It's really unfair. Oh, I've never found the love of my life and all that kind of thing. Right? Or money. I would have been like, oh, like I do so much, I work so hard. Why do I not have more money? Why am I not a multimillionaire? And that person is, and they're rubbish and all that kind of thing. Like I'm going to be honest, that's been some of the talk I've had in my life in my head. Right? Maybe you can relate to some of that as well. Do you know what that gives me? Nothing doing that. Do you know what did give me some progress in both of those areas and more areas? Really working up my intention on what I want to feel and moving forward. So maybe you've been there and complaining about life is unfair. And I've had to realize there are some areas where I'm perhaps a bit more fortunate, like in with some of the things that have gone for me, right? Now, the thing is, there are some things that just go a bit easier for other people than others, right? And that's just the way it is. Life isn't meant to be fair. But the way you navigate it and use what you got and move forward, I found is absolutely critical in my life. So I want to give you some points on how to really work through this. I'm going to go through 5 points and then an extra bonus one as well. So first of all, realize what's going on and write it down, right? Energy, realize what you're complaining about and what's going on, because just recognizing that is going to be good awareness. I complain about this, and this, right? I remember going through an exercise from a program I was going through, and it's like the top 10 things you complain about, right? And I did that exercise before, and then when I came around and did it again, it was really hard to do because I was like, do I really complain that much? I probably complain about like stupid little things like technology not working or the internet working. Well, that's quite important, obviously. But yeah, those kind of things. So the second thing, allow yourself to get things out of your system. If it's building up in your body, scream into a pillow, do some heavy breathing, whatever you need to do, because releasing out of your body is a really strong point. And then the third point I would say is focus, make an intention to focus on feeling good. Focus on feeling good, because that making that intention, it's surprising how often I didn't make it an intention. I was like, well, it's kind of like, I want to feel rubbish. I want to complain, because if I complain and I feel like I'm a victim and I feel guilty, then people will feel sorry for me. Then I'll get more sympathy. And I was like, no, they won't. All right. When I realized I was the only person to look after me, even though I had great people in my life, that's really when I started feeling good and focusing on feeling good. Make it an intention. That includes changes to your diet, your morning routine, your mental workout, your emotional workouts, every single day. Do it. All right. The fourth one, stop comparing yourself to others. Do what you want to do. Stop looking at like what others are doing, because you just got to focus on your own way, right? And yeah, I'm going to be honest with this point. I think I don't totally, I say this, I don't totally agree. I'm very ambitious and got big dreams and visions, and I want other people to as well. I don't necessarily believe in the saying, you can do anything you put your mind to, because not everyone can do anything they put their mind to, you know? Yeah, like there are some talented sportsmen, for example, in football, my favorite, or soccer if you're in the US, right? And there, in my view, is a certain ability with quite a lot of players. They work really hard to be the best in the world, the ones up there. And then some have to work really, really hard to get there. But there's usually some kind of ability. Now, some of them are more naturally gifted than others, you can tell. And some work really, really hard. Like Cristiano Ronaldo is the hardest working individual, like one of the hardest individual athletes I've ever seen, right? There's a lot of hardworking athletes. I also believe there are some people who just not cut out for things. So I used to try and do the 100 meters under 12 seconds and I just couldn't, right? But like there's going to be someone in the world and they can run it under like 11 seconds without a lot of training. Now I could go, oh, that's unfair, or I could just accept it, right? There are some people who are just not maybe good at football, even though they really try. I've seen them. There's people I know we like trained with, came to my football teams, and they're great human beings, but great guys. But it was just like they were trying really hard, and they practiced and they trained and they played five-a-side, and they just weren't very good at the end of the day, right? So I don't believe anyone can do anything. So it's about really being honest with yourself. Can I get exceptional at this, right? So for me, I know I have. Like, I'm not the best speaker in the world. I'm not the best podcaster in the world, but I know that I've got a certain ability with it that was hidden for many, many years, that with a lot of hard work, I've been able to nurture a lot more. So what I would say is stop comparing yourself to another person. If like sometimes that person really excelled in that area because one, they worked hard, and two, they've got kind of an ability in it. You don't always have to have an ability in it. But like then you may have a real limitation in the skill that actually you're just not cut out for. So again, it's just about being honest with yourself. I'm not trying to bring anyone down, but I've seen people work really hard at things and I've done it myself, work really hard for things they're just not cut out for. Right? And I'm all for keep going, by the way. Right. The fifth one is remind yourself why you love yourself daily. Every single day, right? Remind yourself why you love you. And then that's going to really help you work through those hardships and those challenges when you feel like life is unfair. Now, the final point is just conditioning yourself with self-love and gratitude every single day, because the more you do it, the more you're going to feel it and more you're going to live it. So I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much for listening. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.